also sending a bubble effect. I'm going to choose my favorite, which is slam. Bam, always gets my point across.
I think you've used that one a little bit.
You know what? It never gets old, right? Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, for a moment. All right, let's try a different one here.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, looks like we might be back up. Let's say it here. They smashed it.
There you go.
One more time.
That works. One more time.
What do you say?
Yeah.
Bam! Always looks good. I really do use it all the time, don't I?
Yeah.
Smashed it.
There you go.
One more time.
That works. One more time. Okay, so there we go.
You know what? Our friends are always late to the game. They really are.
It's true. It's
Okay, looks like they're playing in San Francisco, and as you might expect with a band like that, sold out. Now, Bethany sent over an effect with invisible ink. This is fantastic for when you want to keep something a surprise, which it looks like you may have. So now, to reveal the contents, all I have to do is use my finger to swipe away the particles. Let's have a look. Oh, Bethany, you got us tickets.
You know.
Always coming through, always coming through. Seems like everyone else agrees. I'm going to show my appreciation by sending some big emoji here. Make sure I put myself in there. And to close things off, let's do this with a full screen effect. We've got some lovely ones here, like lovely balloons. I'll swipe over to confetti. But I'm going to go with this one.
Nothing beats a full screen moment.
That's iOS 10 messages, everyone. We cannot wait for you to try it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bethany and Emron. It's just incredible work. Well, so those are some highlights for messages. But you know, we thought when it comes to expressing yourself that there was so much more we could do if we could tap into all of the creativity of all of you developers. And so we're opening up messages to developers as well with iMessage apps. With iMessage apps, iMessage has an app drawer with all of your iMessage apps. You can tap the plus and get to the App Store and find other apps. You download them, of course, they're here in your drawer. And there's so many different kinds of apps you can create. From things like stickers. An artist can create stickers as well without even writing any code. But for developers who do want to write code, they have access to the full iOS SDK, including access to the camera, so you can do incredible animated effects with apps like JibJab. You can accomplish more sophisticated tasks as well, like payment with Square Cash, allowing you to pay someone right through the messages thread. They can receive it and redeem it on the receiving end right inside of messages. There's so much you can do with iMessage apps. I'd like to show you a couple of the possibilities in a demo right now. Let's take a look. So let's dive here into a conversation. See, here's a thread with the family. Now I can respond with text, of course, but now with iMessage apps, I can just bring up my app drawer and I can get to all of my different iMessage apps, including some great stickers. So let me dive into these Mickey stickers. You can see that they're all animated. I can actually look through them like this. I can swipe between my stickers, so maybe some from inside out. Here's some from Finding Dory. If I want to send one, I can just tap, drop it right in, just like that. It's really easy and they're really fun. And now here I received another photo, and the great thing about stickers is you can actually peel them off and attach them to bubbles. So, you know, this one would look cool if I could just take the sun over here, maybe put that up there in the corner, and then maybe a little seal off here on the side, just like that. It's really pretty cool what you can do with these messages. Well, oh look, I got a message from Brian here. Let's take a look at this. He says, we're placing an order for lunch after the keynote, and we can see he's doing that actually with an iMessage app. So he's used DoorDash and he's placing an order at Curry Up Now. So I can just tap in and see what's going on. Now, there's a group cart that we're all collaborating on through the iMessage app, so I'm gonna look at that. Looks like Phil has ordered the Naughty Naan, and Jaws has ordered, Brian's ordered as well. So I can put in my order, and I'm gonna go for this deconstructed samosa. That looks pretty good. And I'm sure Tim would like one as well. And well, it would be rude if, you know, we ate in front of you guys without getting you some. So we'll just up this up a little bit here. And we can just add that to our cart like this, and then drop it right into messages. And it's fortunate that Brian will be paying for this. So a final thing I'd like to show you with iMessage apps are these really fun, interactive kinds of apps. And one example is Jib Jab. So let's jump right into Jib Jab here. We see there are a whole bunch of fun things. I can scroll through and see the options. I can also, of course, select from a gallery of faces. Let's pick Eddie maybe. And you know, I can just drop him in to the transcript, just like that. And I think this gives you the sense of the power of iMessage apps in iOS 10. So this is the new Messages. It's of course fantastic on your iPhone. All of this is available to you on your iPad as well. And your Mac and your Apple Watch can receive all of this interactive content as well. So that's Messages, part of 10 huge features in iOS 10. But of course there was so much more that we can't talk about right now, but I can't help myself but mention just a couple more things, like Notes collaboration. You now can work live with multiple people in the same note. Conversation view in Mail, so you can scroll from message to message in a single thread on your iPhone and iPad. Live photos are better than ever. We have digital video image stabilization, so they're buttery smooth, and they're editable now as well. And finally, split view in Safari on iPad, so you can put two websites side by side in Safari on your iPad. Now, iOS 10 is a fantastic release for our users. It's also a gigantic release for our developers. When you think about it, experiences like the lock screen with notifications, the phone, maps, messages, every major area of iOS now open to developers, and so many other options. But you know, all of this great work in iOS 10 would be meaningless to us if it came at the expense of your privacy. And so, in every feature that we do, we carefully consider how to protect your privacy. With apps like FaceTime and Messages and HomeKit, we make sure to use end-to-end encryption by default and always to protect your communication. And when it comes to performing advanced deep learning and artificial intelligence analysis of your data, we're doing it on device using the incredible power of the silicon on your iPhone and your Mac, keeping your personal data under your control. And when you do searches of the internet, maybe for a route in Maps or a search for information in Spotlight, well, we don't build any user profiles. Now, of course, one of the important tools in making software more intelligent is to spot patterns on how multiple users are using their devices. For instance, you might want to know what new words are trending so you could offer them up more readily in the QuickType keyboard. Well, differential privacy is a research topic in the area of statistics and data analytics that uses hashing, subsampling, and noise injection to enable this kind of crowdsourced learning while keeping the information of each individual user completely private. Now, Apple's been doing some super important work in this area to enable differential privacy to be deployed at scale. And we brought in the professor and researcher who literally co-wrote the book on differential privacy for a quick peek at what we were doing. And he described the work as groundbreaking. He went on to say that incorporating differential privacy broadly into Apple's technology is visionary and positions Apple as the clear privacy leader among technology companies today. We We believe you should have great features and great privacy. You demand it, and we are dedicated to providing it. So well, actually, there's one more thing. You know, we are so excited about everything you've just seen with iOS 10. We couldn't help ourselves. We made a video. I'd love to show it to you now. Let's do it.
Hey, hi, hello. Hey, hi, hello. So I'm feeling like a dime, but I'm looking like a queen. You can come and have another, but you better kiss my ring. Welcome to the future, my name is Fly. Hello, hello, holla, hey, bye, bye. So brand new, so fresh and clean. Nothing better, not better than me. Stronger, faster, shiny too. Here and now and made for you. Walk into the room, gonna make your bang go boom. And I'm like, hey, hi, hello. Hey, hi, hello. Hey, hi, hello.
And that is iOS 10. All of you developers can get the developer preview today. And again, we're doing a public beta this July. Sign up now at beta.apple.com and we'll let you know when you can download it. And iOS 10 will be available to all of our users this fall as a free upgrade across all of these devices. That is iOS. Now I'd like to hand it back to Tim. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Craig. iOS 10 is fantastic, and it's an enormous release. I couldn't be more proud and more excited about the incredible advancements across all of our platforms. Now, as we said earlier, an important part of making these platforms so capable is our developers. We believe it's crucial that we provide the best tools so you can create the best apps. That's why we created Swift. Swift is a powerful and intuitive programming language for iOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS. And writing Swift code is fun and interactive, and apps written in it are lightning fast. Since we released Swift less than 2 years ago, we've seen an amazing response from the developer community. There's already more than 100,000 apps that have adopted the use of Swift code, including great apps like Twitter and Strava and Lyft. Now, we wanted everyone to use Swift, so we released it as open source in December, and since then the adoption has been amazing. It's already the #1 language project on GitHub. Swift is powerful, but it's also simple and it's approachable, so it can be your very first programming language. This is a very important point for us. Because Swift is so easy to learn, it has the potential to bring many more people into coding. And this is an idea we would like to take even further. So today, we're introducing a new app for iPad. We call it Swift Playgrounds. Swift Playgrounds will revolutionize the way people learn to code. And they'll be able to do it right on their iPad, which instantly makes it accessible for hundreds of millions of people around the world. There's never been anything like this. We believe it's the absolute best way to teach everyone to code, combining the powerful Swift programming language and the powerful capabilities of iPad. To show it to you, I'd like to invite Cheryl Thomas up. Cheryl?
Thank you, Tim. I am thrilled to show you Swift Playgrounds, an incredible new app that transforms how kids learn to code. I'll launch it right now. We land on this gorgeous screen full of custom content from Apple. Up at the top are lessons, and down below we have challenges. I'm going to start with the very first lesson in the fundamentals of Swift. We see a preview of the content with graphics and a description, and I'll open it. It starts with an introduction to the coding concept I'll be learning, and when I'm good and ready, I can just tap in the lower corner to start coding. Over on the right, you can see we have an interactive world that I can explore using touch. I'll swipe it, looks good, and pinch to zoom. This is Byte. He's my character. I think he's irresistible, and I'll be controlling him with code. Over on the left are instructions that explain and help guide me through the problem I'll be solving, and down below is where I enter my code. Byte's been waiting patiently, so I'll tap to enter Swift code. You can see commands have appeared at the bottom. These are just like QuickType suggestions, but for code. My objective in this lesson is to get him to the end of that path and collect the gem. So I'll tap move forward 3 times, and then collect gem. Watch the world on the right as I run my code. Byte moves forward, he follows the commands in the exact order I've entered, gets the gem, and I've completed my very first lesson. Kids are gonna love them. Now, I can continue to the next lesson in the series, or I can jump around to wherever I'd like. To do that, I tap in the top left to open the table of contents. And you can see we include a ton of great content here to engage and motivate learners. This one on loops, looping all the sides, looks a little interesting. I'm gonna check it out. Now, we have a few lines of code already filled in. I'll go ahead and run it and see what happens. Byte moves forward, he gets the gem, but then he just stops. Aw, poor little guy. He's gonna need some help. The solution here, and I know you've all got this, is that I need to repeat that block of code 4 times to get Byte around all 4 sides of the world. To do that, I'm gonna need a for loop. I'll tap the plus up top to open my code library, and all I have to do is just drag a for loop right into my code. Now, watch this. I can tap that loop, grab the end of it, and just drag it all around my code. All right, I'll tap the number placeholder, set this loop to repeat 4 times, looks good. Okay, keep your eyes on Byte as I run my code. He moves forward, gets the gem, makes a turn, and this time with the added for loop, he just keeps on going. I've finished another lesson, and I'm well on my way to mastering loops. Wouldn't this have been cool when we were all learning to code? I mean, come on, you students, let me hear it. Come on. Swift Playgrounds is a fantastic app to master the basics, but it doesn't stop there. Let me show you. I'll tap in the top left corner to go to my library of playgrounds. I can also explore advanced coding and use the power of the iOS SDK to do almost anything I'd like. I happen to have something I've been working on. It combines my 2 favorite things, physics and emoji, interestingly. Okay, you can see that this is a lot more sophisticated than what we've been doing. I have some emoji on the right, thank goodness. I can tap to add more. That's a big B, okay. Now I can also fling them around, and because this is physics emoji, they create a nice little reaction. But you also notice they're all just falling down to the bottom. And that's because right now gravity is fixed. So I'm gonna go ahead and play around with gravity a little bit, because who doesn't like to do that? I'm gonna double tap to bring up the keyboard. We've built a completely new coding keyboard, and it is awesome. The keyboard has the numbers and symbols we use in Swift programming, and they're right at my fingertips. I'm going to quickly set the world's angle, world.angle equal to the gyroscope's angle. It looks good. Okay, now look at the bottom of the keyboard. There's a V key. It also has an asterisk on it. Watch what happens when I press and drag down. I get an asterisk for multiplication. You're going to get to see that again. I bet you knew that though, right? Look at the W key. I'm going to press and drag down for a number 2. Okay, let's see what kind of impact this had. Let's take this full screen and run my code. Of course, because my playground now has access to the iPad hardware, as I pick up the iPad and I tilt it, all my emoji react. And that's how they like it, I have to tell you. Okay, so I've shown you just a taste of what you can create on your own and a small sample of the amazing lessons. That is Swift Playgrounds, a fun and powerful new way for kids to learn to code. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you, Cheryl. Looks absolutely incredible. And because we're combining basic coding skills with real-life code, Swift Playgrounds can profoundly impact the way kids learn to code. So we're releasing it with the developer preview today. It will be in the public beta next month. And it will be in the App Store when iOS 10 ships in the fall. Now, we believe coding should be a required language in all schools. So to help make this the case, we're going to make Swift Playgrounds free. And we hope that this gift to kids in schools around the world will help make coding a part of the school day. That is Swift Playgrounds. Powerful tools like these enable developers to create great apps, but they also help the next generation of developers who seek out on their journey to change the world. And to motivate this new generation of developers, we've created a video about what first inspired some great Apple developers to start coding. And I'd love to show it to you now.
Hello world. So this is the first computer that I coded on.
In the beginning, my biggest challenge was not having access to a computer.
The first line of code I wrote was bouncing ball. It would bounce around the screen, hit the edges, and then come back again.
I think the first one was like a to-do list. It was a to-do list.
I remember the first time I did it when it worked, and it was like magical.
I realized that I can do anything with code. Anything I can think about, I can do it. In Beirut, we experience power outages every day. So let me see if I can just do a simple algorithm that can provide the electricity cut-off time.
It shouldn't cost life to give life. What if we compress all these health guidelines into small movies?
I am one person that saw a problem and created a solution to stop or assist a woman in domestic violence.
What we wanted, what we needed, didn't exist. So at some point, you just say, okay, well, let's do it ourselves.
Let's make an app.
Well, when I first start an app, I have to have a plan.
We start with that little glimmer, that seed of a new, fresh idea.
There's this fear of code, like it's so hard or it's inaccessible, but actually it's not.
Someone who doesn't even know code at all, if they really studied some simple Swift code, they would probably be able to understand it.
Anything's possible, and it all comes from that first step.
Launching the app was a perfect moment, actually.
I told everyone about it. I'm like, download my app. It's on the App Store.
I was dancing. I called all my girlfriends that I cried to.
It's such a crazy feeling because it's so many emotions, so many wishes, so many dreams.
I always tell my students, do you have Beirut electricity? My son made it. He built it. And he cares. Is he single?
By the end of 2016, 1 million women will have a safe birth due to the Safe Delivery app.
People come together in public spaces. It creates a kind of happiness, and it creates a kind of like healing effect for the soul.
Don't touch my code! Dear Kira, young people like you are tomorrow's leaders. You inspire me and give me tremendous hope for the future. Michelle and I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Barack Obama.
These tools are something that we desperately need when trying to change the world.
I think the more people who can learn to code, learn to build apps, the more problems can be solved.
I feel like I'm creating stuff that can actually change the way people live, which is super awesome.
I want to be this amazing coder, this off-the-chain senior developer where everybody comes to me and is like, can you fix this? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and I go in there, I'll just type up the code and blah, 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 damn. And like, wow, you can do this. Yay!
It's really incredible to see the inspirations of so many amazing developers. And I can't wait to see what this next generation of developers are going to create to make the world a better place. So I told you it was going to be jam-packed. What a great morning. Great updates to all of the platforms, starting with watchOS, faster performance, better navigation, all new fitness and health features to help you live a better life. tvOS, the future of TV is apps, and it now just got a whole lot better with expanded Siri search and single sign-on. macOS Sierra, bringing Siri and Apple Pay to the Mac, along with some other incredibly powerful features. And a gigantic release of iOS, the mother of all releases. Incredible new features for messages, all new designs for photos, Apple News, and Apple Music, and incredible new opportunities for developers to integrate their apps with Siri, Maps, and Messages. At Apple, we believe that technology should lift humanity and should enrich people's lives in all the ways they want to experience it. Whether it's on their wrist, in their living room, on their desk, in the palm of their hand, in the car, or even automating their home. This is a huge moment for us. 4 great platforms that become even more capable with working with all of you. I'd like to thank all of the developers here today and all of those watching us that have partnered with us in our quest to change the world for the better. And of course, I'd like to thank everyone at Apple, all the teams that worked so hard to make this day happen. Thank you very much and have a fantastic week.